following video is brought to you by Disney and Rotten Tomatoes.
Yes, because we cannot form opinions on our own. Tonight we're seeing Suicide Squad.
Yes, and this movie has been causing a large amount of controversy, not because of anything that is in the actual movie, but because of the fact that critics are railing this thing so hard that it is literally at Batman v Superman levels of hatred by the critics.
It is very much, although things have gotten so bad now that a petition has been called for to shut down Rotten Tomatoes, and a majority of the signatures are just people who are making fun of the petition.
Alright, but, let's not talk about the controversy, because the controversy makes no fucking difference.
We don't talk about controversies on the show. If you recall, we didn't go over the controversy we touched base on the controversy with Ghostbusters before we saw it, and then we never talked about it for the rest of the video. We didn't talk about the controversy that was going on with X-Men Days of Future Past, so
let's talk about the actual movie, Suicide Squad. Now, these are characters we have... Now, essentially, the way to describe this is Guardians of the Galaxy. This is essentially the most Marvel movie DC may ever make.
And it doesn't help that the director apparently said fuck Marvel at the premiere earlier this week.
It might have been an out-of-context thing. Once again, we're not going to really rail on controversy here. But the thing about Suicide Squad was once it was announced, we didn't know what to think, honestly, because Suicide Squad is not one of the more popular DC properties, and even if it was a Marvel property, we obviously do not know. We know the more popular names, but not the obscure stuff.
Yeah, but once we heard the characters that were going to be in the movie, we knew a couple of them, so we kind of got excited, and when the trailers started dropping, it got a little bit more exciting.
We've got Will Smith, who should pretty much be given a living legend status for blockbusters. Please do it so that he stops making After Earths.
He will never make another After Earth.
Really?
I don't think there will ever be plans for it.
Whatever. And we got Margot Robbie, who the second she was cast as Harley Quinn, I was like, yes.
And there's actually a podcast you can listen to about that we did when we first heard about the casting news, and our friend JP was excited about Tom Hardy playing Rick Flag.
Of course, he later dropped out of that.
Since then, Tom Hardy has dropped out. We do not know JP's reaction, but
the fact of the matter is, this movie, and then Jared Leto got cast as the Joker, and everybody was essentially like, Jared Leto, okay, I like Jared Leto, and the Joker's a cool character, but he doesn't need to be in an ensemble movie.
And probably the biggest thing about this is that, yes, Heath Ledger Heath Ledger was less than a decade ago, so it's gonna be hard to have Leto versus Ledger because we had the most iconic Joker performance of recent history just happened in 2008.
And the thing is, the DC Cinematic Universe has finally got a director outside of Zack Snyder. I mean, that's the cool part. We've got the director of Training Day directing a superhero movie, and pretty much David Ayer has been. And if you look at David Ayer's filmography, he's pretty much been working up to a movie like this. He's been doing action movies, and Fury was essentially him trying to do a bottle movie with an ensemble cast, and it was pretty much a similar setup where David Ayer wrote and directed everything by himself. So, and it seems like in both cases the biggest criticism is between this and Fury, the biggest criticism is the writing, because with Fury, everybody said, well, the actors are great and the directing is great, but I just wish there was a better movie surrounding it. And it seems like that is the bigger, and from what I've heard through a few of the reviews I've actually paid attention to, that seems to be one of the complaints with this movie.
However, we're going to keep an open mind. We're excited. I am way more excited for this than I was for Batman v Superman.
Mostly because Batman v Superman, it was Batman and Superman, two of the greatest superheroes on Earth.
But they didn't hype it up. Whereas this time we got a different director, got some new blood. That's the thing about Marvel. Marvel has new directors with each movie, mostly. So there's always a different style to be brought to the next Marvel movie.
but now DC is building up a cinematic universe, and Suicide Squad is its next step. The question is that a step worth taking, or was it something that probably should have spent a little more time getting worked on?
We'll figure that out after the jump.
Alright. Well, guys, the movie's over. We are out of the theater, and what did we think of it? It was fun.
It was a really fun time. Fun but flawed.
Yeah, it's not a bad movie. I wish we could say that it was good enough to say hey, all the critics got it wrong, go see it, but it's got its flaws, but it's still a fun movie. It's worth going to see in theaters. The critics who straight up hate it are obviously a little too jaded from seeing all these great Marvel movies, but hey, well, it's good for what it is, and that's just a fun action movie.
So let's get into it a little bit, starting with the characters.
Well, the characters pretty much make the movie, honestly. It's a great group of characters that all work well together. You just love these guys when they are all coming together.
The chemistry is undeniable. Will Smith, as Deadshot, just ties the movie together. He's basically the lead in the movie. And then you have Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn.
We all knew that even if this movie was 100% terrible, that Margot Robbie would at least be the one true cinematic Harley Quinn of our generation.
She is everything about Harley Quinn. She is funny. She is sexy. She is smart. She is everything about Harley that has been embodied from the character since she was created.
And then there's Killer Croc. He's in this movie. He's got one or two lines.
He's got some good jokes. He's got a couple of good jokes. Captain Boomerang was pretty funny.
Yeah, we've never seen a Jai Courtney movie. All we have ever known about him is that he's essentially Channing Tatum if you sucked all his charisma out. But here he actually has a few good jokes, including one that's kind of ripped off of Deadpool.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then Joel Kinnaman as Rick Flag. I really liked him.
Yeah, he did a good job. At first it kind of seemed like he kind of saw Tom Hardy's performance in The Revenant and was like, all right. But he made the character his own. He wasn't just imitating Tom Hardy for the whole thing. He wasn't just becoming discount Tom Hardy through the whole thing. He pulled it off.
Now, Viola Davis as Amanda Waller was an interesting character. She's a big character, and we definitely got to see some of her, but she was also kind of...
She's kind of underutilized. She is kind of underutilized. Not nearly as much as the Joker, which we'll get into in a sec, but she's kind of the omniscient character who kind of holds all the cards, and that's kind of the great part about Amanda Waller's character in every single form of media that she's in. She's that one character. She's the one person who knows just about everything.
Yeah. Now let's talk the Joker. Jared Leto as the Joker.
He put his own fun spin on it. It's basically like if... I think I've heard this described somewhere. It's like if Scarface just took an assload of coke, and then he thought, you know what? This is too tame for me. I'm gonna take some meth.
Yeah, no, I think that was Jeremy Johns who said that.
Yeah.
The entire time I was thinking, this is Jim Carrey playing Scarface. But he was a different take. He was different from Nicholson. He was different from Ledger. I don't think he 100% grew on me because we didn't get a lot of screen time with him.
He did have... But once again, he did have his own thing going on. He wasn't just essentially taking all the best parts of Heath Ledger's performance and being like, okay, I'm going to do that, but I'm going to do it but I'm going to just bastardize it. He did his own thing. And unlike when Jesse Eisenberg was Lex Luthor, it actually kind of worked. It actually really, really worked, actually.
Yeah. Now let's talk the writing and the direction. David Ayer is a great action director. It was pretty good action sequences, and there was some pretty good camera angles and everything. It was well shot, and not everything worked. It was colorful. Now there were plenty of funny gags and jokes in there and everything. But the main problem I have is that this moves at an impossibly slow pace for me.
Yeah, it's kind of like 1 second they're there, and then they have to sit, and then they're sitting there for a little while. Character development, or long action scene, and then eventually the plot picks up again.
The first like 20 minutes is all like expositional scenes,
and they're kind of good expositional scenes. We get introduced to these characters as well.
Yeah, they're good expositional scenes, but when you're 45 minutes into the movie and you're still introducing members of the squad, it kind of seems like you're going really slow. It kind of just seems like you're just going really slow. And the fact that we had Slipknot in the movie and we didn't even get any introduction to him other than he can climb anything, just proved he was going to be cannon fodder.
And I understand that. And here's something: Christian Harloff and Mark Ellis of Schmoes knows. I don't like taking other critics' opinions and making them my own. But they brought up that but Christian Harloff kind of bitched about this. Is for like the first, I don't know, like hour of the movie. There's a lot of scenes that are basically full of the sound of a bunch of great pop songs from the soundtrack, which is all right. It's good, but for a while it was like they couldn't get through an entire scene without playing some pop song in the background. I don't hate this. I just think that eventually you just gotta I'm just saying you hired a guy to write the score, so how about letting him do his job?
Yeah. And the fact that we now have 21 Pilots stuck in our head kind of also attributes to that fact.
Which isn't a problem. It's the end credits song, and 21 Pilots did a decent job writing a catchy hook. It's just that now it's stuck in our heads. Now, let's talk about cameos. There are 2 Justice League cameos in this movie. One has been spoiled, one will not. We are not talking about this. And also stay through the first half of the credits because you're going to get a little bit more, you're going to get a Marvel-style tease.
Yeah.
But Ben Affleck as Batman is in this movie for like 3 minutes.
Yeah, we don't get a lot of Ben Affleck, but you know, it's great that they're tying the universe together and we're getting some stuff of it.
And what else?
I don't know.
There's Cara Delevingne. She did an all right job. Oh, my Fantastic thing. There are some critics who have compared the third act to this movie to the third act of Fantastic. You know, the 2015 Fantastic Four. I just want to say that's, as much as you like to think that's alright, that's an apt comparison. I just want to say that Fantastic was generic as hell, so it's kind of easy to make something that looks like Fantastic if you know, Fantastic didn't have as many attempts to make you feel something for the characters as this one's third act did. I mean, as someone who's seen Enid's, I can tell you that the end of Fantastic was essentially, we can't stop him. We can stop him if we work together. We can work together? Awesome! I did not see that coming. And then they all start wailing on him. And then they all just simply wail on him. And that somehow works.
Yes, so...
Spoiler alert for a shitty movie that no one will ever watch, that no one should, in their right mind, should watch except for curiosity's sake.
Yeah, but it's a good... But Suicide Squad, it's a fun movie. It's flawed, but it's fun. We had a lot of fun watching it. There is definitely no moment of you have to save Martha because everybody's mom turns out to be named Martha, has to have the name Martha.
But that's the thing. There is no Martha moments. There is no moment where there is no ultra ridiculous thing except for maybe Enchantress hula dancing in through most of the third act.
There's not so much ultra ridiculous things as some kind of things that you just have to say might not have been exactly the idea that how a character would have gone. Like the motivations of at least 2 characters in the climax, 2 characters growing a conscience during the climax was a little weird.
But But look, this is a fun action movie. It's DC taking a step in the right. It's DC taking a step in the right direction. If this becomes a franchise, I'm pretty sure it'll grow on the people who are the critics that are hating on it right now. And I think that, and honestly, I think this is going to be one of those movies that they look back on in a few years and are like, you know, we might have judged it a little too harshly. Batman v Superman it was a decent movie, but it's not worth shutting down a whole. But this and Batman v Superman are not worth shutting down an entire site where people just voice their opinion, where people voicing their opinions is just counted.
Where an aggregation of people's opinion is counted. So
that's basically our thoughts on the whole on the whole shebang. And so, well, I think that's it, guys.
Yeah. So what do you guys think of Suicide Squad? Leave it down in the comments below, and we will see you next time because we are going to go see Sausage Party.
Bye.
Bye.